Welcome to Counterpoint on the Piano. I'm Noah, and I'm going to show you Counterpoint on the Piano. This is going to be a multi-part series on how I approach counterpoint, and with that, it's going to entail composition, a little bit of technique, but the goal is for you to be able to go up to a piano and make some music happen. Now, before you get intimidated by all the theory that you may think is behind counterpoint, we're going to try to keep this very simple for you. I'm going to have it be visual at the keyboard. You'll see what I can play, and you will hear what is being played. And hopefully at your own keyboard at home or piano, you'll be able to either imitate or elaborate what you're learning, what you're seeing, and build from those very small ideas and take it as far as you want. Historically, probably the first idea of counterpoint was simply a voice against a drone. So to play a drone on the piano, we'll have to use the pedal. And first we'll have our drone in the left hand, and then play a melody in the right hand. We can also play the drone in the right hand and play a melody in the left hand. So in this instance, our drone was on the first note of the scale, but in C major, if we do the drone on the fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, on the G, we get a different effect. Let's try it in the right hand. So now that we've understood the drone, this would be a good time to talk about the most important thing to our music theory in understanding counterpoint, which is the intervals. So no matter what, if it's within the octave, or if it's 2 octaves apart, or 1 octave apart, we're going to call it the same thing. So as if every interval is in the same octave. So this is obviously an octave, but this we'll call a third. 1, 2, 3. Doesn't matter that there's an octave apart. This is a third. This is a fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4. A fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A sixth. A seventh. And then an octave, or 1. We can call it 1. Second, third, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Now how about minor? Very similar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So we've heard all the intervals, more or less, 1 through 8, 8 being the octave. Now, when we're trying to play counterpoint at the piano, there's quite a number of things we can do. I like to start with a note in the left hand, and we want to choose what kind of interval to play above this note. So a fifth sounds good. It's very solid. Thirds sound good. And very often, a sixth will sound good. So say we have a melody, a very simple melody. That's going to be our melody. Do, re, mi. You can call it do, re, mi. I also like to call it 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. And just name it whatever number it is in the scale. So in the C scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1. So I like to think of it as 1, 2, 3. So one way that we can harmonize that would be to play thirds along with it. If you play thirds above the melody, it'll almost always sound good. What about if we do do, re, mi in the right hand? How can we harmonize it with the left hand? Well, we can still do thirds, but if we're playing a melody in the right hand, we want to measure from the bottom. So this will be a third below. Let's play it down here. We can also do it in sixths. 6, 6, 6. Let's try to harmonize a bass line, because just like architecture, music is often built from the bottom up to the top. So we want to have a strong foundation and think from there. So let's play a very simple melody with the left hand and try to go stepwise, not do anything too fast or jumpy, and only use thirds, maybe an occasional sixth, above it in the right hand to harmonize it. So perhaps you already have some piano background and you know how the scale works, the major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Maybe right now we should harmonize just the left hand playing the scale. And in the right hand, we'll just use thirds. That sounds pretty good. It's not quite counterpoint because they're not two distinct melodies. They're just kind of copying each other and moving in the same direction. But we don't have to worry about that too much right now. We can also use sixths, although it's not quite as effective. But we can use a combination of thirds and sixths and really get something pretty interesting. We can even really improvise it. 6, 6, 3, unison, 3, 6, 6, 3, 6, 6. What about the right hand playing the scale? Can we do something good as well? Let's try starting on an octave or a unison and go from there. Now, I liked our scale. It sounded pretty. But I think for counterpoint to be real counterpoint, the voices have to sound more distinct. And sometimes adding a little bit of rhythmic back and forth will give you that kind of effect. And they'll sound more like equals, independent voices, instead of just one accompanying the other, or being the same thing. So let's try it again, playing the scale, and using thirds, targeting the thirds, but adding a little bit of rhythmic interest. So our first step in our scale was going from this third to this third. And on and on and on. The way I like to think of moving from one place to the next, or even further, is I like to think of trying to connect the dots. Here's a dot, here's a dot, but we don't want to just go. We want to turn that more into music. So one thing we can do is add extra notes connecting from here to here. That's what we just did. What if we want to go a little further? Say from this third to a third above the F. So from here to here. Of course we could go. That sounds okay. But that's the idea, is connecting the dots. That was nice. So to round out our first session, let's take a familiar tune, and instead of harmonizing it with chords, let's accompany it with a nice counter melody. We'll take this melody and maybe you know the rest, and we'll put a nice note against note in the left hand for it.